Wallace.
And I have Don Holly here with me.
Three phases, dressage, cross-country, show jump. And you're out on course and something's going wrong or going right. You know how to react to what they're doing.
It was built originally to be a schooling facility, and so everything's set up very conveniently. Welcome to the Jon and Rick Show, brought to you by Horse Trailer Pros. We're really excited you guys have joined us for an amazing episode today. Rick, we get to sit down with Lucinda Green.
Yes, we do.
Rachael.
And Rachael.
Hunter. To me, to all of the Canadians out there, she is Rachael Hunter. And
but she is now Racheal Faulkner.
Yes, I know, but you know,
Rachael
back when she lived in Canada, she was kind of a superstar, and I was pretty excited to get to talk to the two of them. So that's really exciting coming up. But most importantly, and as always this time of year, the first thing that we need to lead off with is football. My Green Bay Packers are in the National Football Conference Championship.
Yes, and guess what? So is our Tampa Bay Buccaneers, led by the 43-year-old Tom Brady.
Which is incredibly young. Caden keeps telling me that that's really old, but I'm 43, and I figure
I actually, to your point, I told Briggs, I said, the 40s is when you look the best and you know a lot.
Yeah, totally. Absolutely. And I figure technically I could probably play quarterback in the NFL because I'm 40. Tom Brady can do it, so why not?
Sure, why not? You should do it.
So we've got issues in our house, though. So you can see here, we've got my Tampa Bay Buccaneer hat.
So all your listeners, he's wearing a Green Bay Packer hat, and he's holding up the Tampa Bay Buccaneer hat to the cameras.
So ever since the National Football League went to 8 divisions instead of 3 divisions, I don't know if you're aware of this, the Buccaneers used to play in the NFC Central, and they played the Packers every year, 2 games a year. And I hated the Buccaneers, and they were bad. And they were our arch rival. It was the Battle of the Bays every year, and we just detested them. But then they separated, and they went to the NFC South. Green Bay stayed in the NFC North, and Tampa Bay, when I moved to Ocala, became my second team, which, to be honest with you, I never thought would be an issue because Tampa Bay historically is not very good. And now Caden, lo and behold. So now Caden's favorite team is Tampa Bay, and my favorite team is Green Bay. But
good.
Our number 2 teams are each other's teams. So I'm rooting for the Packers. He's rooting for the Buccaneers. I think I'll be probably a little more aggressive than he is because I probably, have more years of pent up rage than he does at this point. But it's going to be an exciting weekend.
Well, that's cool. I know you're excited, and we will all be watching. So to see how it goes and see who wins. I'm going to pull for the Buccaneers. Sorry. And they actually slaughtered the Packers the time before when they played. So I think they've got a good track record to do it again.
Yeah, I think your logic is not sound. It was the end of the year, and we're playing much better. Our defense is great. It's not going to happen. So go Pack go is where we're going to leave that. And I'm glad that you're cheering for the Packers. Good job.
Yeah. So here we are. We're coming from you Skype. And we were in our beautiful studios the show before. But this one we had, like you said, Lucinda Green and Racheal Faulkner coming up. And I want to talk about what's going on here in Ocala.
Yes, you were just at Majestic Oaks.
We did our first event at Majestic Oaks. Ron and Marissa were out, the owners of Majestic Oaks. And it was Marissa's birthday, actually. So I took my young horse, 6-year-old. I changed his name. It was American Bumanji, which is really not his name. It was his father's name and his mother's name combined. And so I changed it back to his thoroughbred racing name, but I put Ultimate in front of it, which all our horses do it. So it's Ultimate Booming Boudron.
Oh, that's a cool name.
It's a cool name. And his name, of course, is still Bodie. He is such a really cool horse. He galloped around the cross country. We ended on our dressage score, and I actually think we were kind of shifted a little bit. And when I looked at the scoreboard, I was tied with Leslie Grant Law and Shelby Post.
Awesome.
And so I was like, well,
That's not bad company.
Right. And but I still think we were like 3 total points off her score. But anyway, all that to say, show jumped beautifully. Cross country was amazing. The horse is getting ready to move up. And I'm going to step at everybody out there. He's done like 4 trainings. So my next one, I'm going to do a prelim training at Rocking Horse. I figured I'll get a little taste of the prelim dressage and the show jump. And then I'm going to do training cross country. That's prelim training. And then I thought I would go to prelim after that. And then I said, nope, I have another opportunity of the modified at Ocala.
That's right.
So I'm going to go from Rocking Horse. Instead of taking him to second Rocking Horse, I'm going to take him the week before and do the modified there and then see how he goes. And if he's good, then I'll take the jump to prelim. But I think we all need to be careful out there with young horses to make sure they're ready. I think he's ready, but why not give him every opportunity to show me he's ready?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's good advice for everybody out there for
and
sure.
Then Briggs had ultimate prediction there. That was the horse we got from the Nygaards. He did training as well. He had a couple rails in show jump. The horse is a lot greener than my 6-year-old. It's a 7-year-old. But that horse is going to be cool. So we'll see what happens. But what did you do?
I hung out this weekend. Didn't do a lot. Got all my horses going. I just got them sort of rolling right after New Year's. And well, that's a lie. They were starting legging up in December, but they started really working at the beginning of January. So I actually have spent the last 4 days, and by what I really mean is Jen has spent the last 4 days trying to get my horses entered at WEC, which I have a feeling is a pretty simple process if you know how to enter a horse show. But as an event rider, it makes me nervous and I struggle with it. And so we wanted to double, triple check what all the charges were and yada, yada, yada. But we are going to go jump the horses at WEC on Wednesday and Thursday. And so we're going to go do that, which is exciting. And we were originally thinking it was like $300 and some an entry.
I remember you telling me that.
Yeah, but it's not. So here's the thing with entering at WEC is they have a lot of fees, just like an event has a lot of fees, but they waive some of those fees right now. But when you enter,
they're all there.
They're all there. And so when you're entering things online and you don't go in and talk to them, you don't know, like, is this a real fee? Is this not a real fee? So there was about $150 worth of fees that they're not actually going to charge us, which took it from a $300 and change proposition to about $150 proposition, which is still a lot of money to go jump around a class. But I want to go and start to learn how the venue works and get the horses comfortable. And so we're going to do it.
And I heard this today from Katie Long, your past extraordinary groom.
Yes, and good friend.
You could go free, no ticket charges on Tuesdays and ride in any ring and jump all the jumps you want.
Really?
Yeah. I was like, well, I'm going to do that.
Well, that's what I should have done. Oh, well.
I just found that out. She goes, I'm pretty sure Tuesdays are open. It's like, it would be ticketed ride. Like I start showing it hits. And I've heard a lot of people going, oh, poor hits. Guys, hits is booming. Everybody was like, oh, we drove by hits and it's a graveyard. I was like, because we haven't started yet. Hits starts this week. But the USEF 100 jumper people aren't going to they're going to go over for the Grand Prix and do the stuff like Aaron Vale and all that. And the derbies. Yes. But they're going to still compete in their USEF classes. So hits is going to be still big with all the 100 jumpers.
There's enough horses in this town.
Oh, it's packed. I was there. I'm going to have a pony and a horse. The classes were huge, and that was the holiday hits. This is the real hits 10 weeks starting this week.
Right.
So we got a lot of choices.
Yeah.
And by the way, one more thing. I forgot to say happy birthday, Briggs. His birthday was Friday.
Yes. Happy birthday, Briggs.
Last Friday.
So what is he, like 63 now?
No, 83 at the heart, but just 24 on the outside.
Right. Okay. And probably, I hope his heart isn't actually 84.
Well, his soul.
There you go. He has an old soul.
Because that's where love comes from, right?
This is the old soul. It's an old, gnarly soul.
And mine was the week before on January 8th, same as Elvis and Kyle Carter.
Right. And your soul is 24.
Mine's 24 and my outside's 95.
So it all meshes together perfectly. One last little thing I have to tell you is the other day I got a message from one of the mothers of one of my students who said to me, "Oh my gosh, my daughter is such a fangirl of Elisa Wallace. You wouldn't believe it." And I said, "Really?" She goes, "Yes, she's watching her helmet cam from Majestic Oaks right now. She is such a fan." And I said, "Wow, I happen to know Elisa pretty well. And you can tell your daughter that I will introduce her at the next horse show." At which point I was told that she was bouncing up and down and giggling and laughing about getting to meet Elisa. So, Elisa,
that's awesome.
You better be ready, because I'm going to introduce you to apparently like at least your number 2 or 3 fan.
That's terrific to hear. You know, it's funny. Karen O'Connor was out at Majestic and she was watching Elisa on Eton on the Mustang. And right. I turned to her and I said, you know, she posted the video of this horse yesterday in Show Jump, and in literally 2 hours, it had 7,500 views. And she turned and looked at me and she goes, "Now, why is that?" I was like, I guess the Mustang touches the hearts of everybody in the United States. And It's not just the eventing world that she touches. And she goes, "That's such a cool idea." And so I was like, yeah, she found an avenue to talk to more than just one group of people. It's really cool. All the girls and boys love her. So that's fun to hear.
Right. Which is why this is the Jon and Rick show, not the eventing show, because we want to do it all.
We want to go everywhere.
Yeah, we want to do Mustangs.
Exactly. And a special reach out to Scott Keach, who was on our show.
Yes.
And he talked so highly about his horses, and he unfortunately lost one of his horses to colic, and that was all. I think his barn name's Oliver. Yeah. And we just want to send out to you, Scott, to Max, and the whole team at Southern Cross. We're so sorry for y'all's loss, and the owners as well. So
yeah, and it's so heartbreaking when that happens. And I think probably most of the audience here knows that, but I think it's worth saying that, you know, people who have these animals, yes, they're athletes, yes, they're a team member, and yes, I know Scott had ambition for that horse to go do some great things, but with all of that, when you put that much time and effort into them, there is also an emotional connection to them, obviously, and that's the hardest part. And I agree. Like I said, for Scott and Max, for sure. And as Max put so well in her Facebook post, for the girls who looked after that horse also, you know, I feel for all of them.
Definitely. And the last call out I'm going to do is for Anissa Cottingham.
Yep.
And she is my 2020 and now 2021 Hero of the Year.
Yep.
She is battling cancer. She's such a brave soul. She's got a terrific father and mother who are right there by her side. That woman is a fighter. I know she's been signed on to a new,
she got into a new study that looks really promising, and she's super excited about that. And I know there's going to be great results.
Yep.
And
so everybody out there, send your great thoughts for Anissa. She's such a cool lady and a great friend of mine and John's, and a great breeder. And I think there was a cool story in the newspaper about really good friends taking her horses to Mayo Clinic and having her be able to come out of the hospital and spend time with them. What great friends you have. And we're all here for you, Anissa.
Absolutely. We love you. All right. So with that said, we're going to take a break. And when we come back, we are going to be with was it 5-time? Is that right? Five-time badminton winner
on 5 different horses.
Yeah, which is incredible. 2-time European champion, I think 1-time world champion, general badass, pardon my French, Lucinda Green.
And then Rachael Hunter as well. So
yes,
see you in a few.
All right, we'll be right back.
Want to advertise on the Jon and Rick Show? Contact John at 352-875-8622
or call Rick at 850-879-2649.
For a horse owner on the road, your trailer is essential. No one enjoys being stuck on the road. At Horse Trailer Pros, we repair, renovate, and maintain all makes and models of horse trailers. We work directly with your insurance company or manufacturer for warranty repairs and insurance claims. Our state-of-the-art facility provides quick turnaround and friendly customer service. Considering a living quarter conversion? We do those too. Find comfort on the road with Horse Trailer Pros. Call or text 352-804-2131. HorseTrailerPros.com.
When it comes time to compete, I demand the best out of my horses and myself. That's why Elemental Fit Lab, the home of CrossFit antics, is my home gym. Coach Vilma and her team create a fun, welcoming environment for athletes of all levels. Whether you're a beginner or a seasoned athlete, Elemental Fit Lab will guide you towards a stronger, healthier version of you. Mention the Jon and Rick Show to get 3 free personal training sessions with enrollment.
Sweet Dixie South is an equestrian facility built for the lifestyle of eventers of all levels. Whether you are coming to Ocala for the entire season, a week, a month, or a year, this beautiful 160-acre farm is the place to settle in and enjoy your time with horses. They offer a full cross-country course with 2 water features, banks, ditches, an amazing footing to gallop, a spectacular all-weather footing ring, large grass jumping fields, and dressage rings. Located in the rolling hills of North Marion County in Reddick, Florida, Sweet Dixie South has 100 stalls and numerous paddocks, apartments, a line of camper hookups, washer and dryer amenities, as well as common areas to complete your experience during your stay. Under the ownership of Mike Campbell and the management of Can-Do Joe Adams of Top Rail Tack, Sweet Dixie South has transformed into a premier eventing training facility in Florida. Go to www.sweetdixiesouth.com for more information. Hey, Rick here. Do you have a horse suffering from poor performance, anxiety and fear, low appetite, agitation, or nervousness? Stress Less can help. Stress Less, the hot horse remedy, is veterinarian-developed, show-safe, all-natural formula that promotes calmness, focus, and mood balance in horses experiencing stress related to training, showing, racing, stall rest, and travel. This equine supplement encourages calmness, focus, and mood balance without affecting the motor skills or energy levels of your horse. It promotes a more willing and balanced temperament with no drowsiness or impaired function, resulting in increased focus, a calm mind, and a happier horse and rider. Try Stress Less today and see for yourself why we think Stress Less is the best hot horse remedy you will find. Check us out at centerlinedistribution.net and on Facebook and Instagram as Stressless Horse Supplement.
All right, well, welcome back to the Jon and Rick Show, brought to you by Horse Trailer Pros as always, and thank you for joining us for our Stress Less segment, and we are incredibly excited because we are now joined by 2 incredible women. We have Lucinda Green and Racheal Faulkner. So I'm going to start here with Lucinda. Really doesn't need much of an introduction, but she is a 6-time winner of the Badminton horse trials. She was a world champion and a 2-time European champion. She won the team gold in 82, 3 European team golds in 77, 85, and 87, and an Olympic silver medal in 1984. So she is pretty good, and I'm sure I didn't even cover all of it, but is a legend.
And I will add to that an amazing mother and grandmother.
Oh, really very cool. And then we also, as I said, have Rachael Faulkner here, who, it was quite interesting, everybody. I was going through sort of our pre-show prep, and Rachael was telling me all the things that she's done and how she is very incredibly the organizer and basically runs Tweezledown, and the schooling there has 4 BE events that she organizes at Tweezledown and has sort of breathed new life into that venue. And as we were chatting, she said, well, I'm Canadian, so you might hear me sound a bit Canadian. And I said, wait a minute, Rachael, who is your mother? And Rachael, why don't you tell everybody who your mother is?
Oh, well, my mum's Jo Young, and she's a very scary dressage judge based in
I
Canada.
love Jo.
And she does lots and lots of judging in the States. So,
Yes,
so your event riders probably have been judged by her.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah,
I've
we
been
know
judged by Jo a lot.
a lot. I get a hug from her. Well, pre-COVID, I get a hug from her all the time.
Oh.
So, she's a cool lady, cool mother.
She
Oh.
is very cool. And
Rachael also went to what Olympics, John?
so here's the thing. Rachael rode in the, was it 1992 Barcelona Olympics for Canada. And so when I got my first job working for Peter Gray and Paul Delbrook, there was a photo, and I don't remember exactly where it was, but it was a really cool photo that I saw of this Rachael girl from Canada, and she's dropping off this massive drop and has no reins. And it is just cool as a cucumber, no reins. And the story I was told is she landed calmly, picked up the reins, galloped off, jumped through a burning poop.
Sorry, guys.
Oh, we got the dogs. Off of a trampoline, through tigers and lions, and got home. It was incredible. So she's a bit of a legend in Canada, actually. And I am doubly gobsmacked here. Anytime I get to talk to Lucinda is great, but now having Rachael here as well is pretty cool for me. So thank you, ladies, for joining us.
Wow. Thank you. What a great show we're going to have. And I know there's a lot going on. We're into this really high level of COVID going on. And I know, unfortunately, England is really being hit hard. Y'all are into lockdown, right?
Yep. Well and truly in lockdown now.
Say where you've got to. Were you outside the window of your man's hotel? He's in isolation, having come back from South Africa. And you, where are you?
I'm in isolation at home because my son has COVID, and thankfully he's with his father. And then my other half has just returned from South Africa, and he has to isolate in a hotel for 10 days. So I was waving to him from his window earlier today. He's just got home.
Well, obviously, with what's going on, Lucinda and Rachael, a lot of things have to happen to redesign our careers, especially over in England. And I know something really cool going on. We're going to get into some other stories, segments later on. But I think the biggest thing that's happening is what you've been helping Lucinda with, which is really cool. It's the LGXC Academy, Lucinda Green Cross Country Academy. And I've been a part of it in the beginning when we were Zooming in, and I have a membership. And, I think it's really cool that y'all are thinking outside the box, because Lucinda obviously usually travels around the world giving clinics. And here she is trapped in her, flat with great people, I'm sure. But tell us what's going on with this new academy that y'all have.
Do you want me to explain it, Lucinda?
Because you're so much more up on the techo side. Yes, please, I do.
Well, I can say that Lucinda is getting more and more techie every day. But no, back in last lockdown, my facility that I have Tweezledown was closed, and I was having slight heart palpitations along with the rest of the world. So I started coming up with this idea of how we could get online. And then when we sort of lockdown was lifted, I took my daughter for a lesson with Lucinda, who she's been teaching Lottie for quite a while now, and transformed Lottie's cross-country riding. Wow. So literally transformed it. And so I sort of gave her a little bit of a rundown on my idea of forming a membership, and basically trying to give everybody a bit of Lucinda, because there's only a select few really that ever get access to her. So it started there, and then we sort of just talked all over the summer until eventually we just said, right, sod it, we're going to get on with this. And basically it's an academy where you sign up, you become a member, and each week, so we have 4 deliverables a month, and each month we do a video learning. And Lucinda's delivering her green print, which we call it, which is basically the fundamentals of her training, which are fascinating. So we deliver that week by the first week of each month, and then we have as you can imagine, Lucinda's got very famous friends. So we've had some amazing people on talking to her. We had Chris Bartle, we had Eric Winter, who designs Badminton, Sam Watson, and we've got Laura Collett coming on, and they're fascinating chats. And then Lucinda goes live with our academy members and answers all the questions, which are so much fun, aren't they, Lucinda?
Yeah, brilliant.
And we've had some great progress by members. They've and then on top of that, we do Mindset Monday, which Lucinda calls Mental Monday, and that's with a sports psychologist, and just helping us with our nerves under control. So it's been so much fun, and I cannot tell you how wonderful it is for me to let people have Lucinda, and hear what she has to say.
Well, I can certainly tell you we appreciate it because we miss Lucinda.
No,
I mean, and
Nice.
having the Zoom and the ability to have conversation with her is brilliant. And obviously when she comes over here, she transforms every time I ride. She helps me in whatever horse I'm on. So we appreciate that. John, do you have questions for him?
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's a very cool idea, Lucinda. It's got to be a challenge, and I'm sure you're quite happy you have Rachael there to help you through all the stuff. But I mean, when we do this, are we talking like you teach, like you see video clips of people ride and do a lesson, or how does the program actually work?
No, it's a very good question, and we've thought a lot all summer about how to do it, and we abandoned that idea for the moment, though it's an ever-evolving thing, and we're always asking for people's feedback from the earlier members because it does help us. But what we do is a lesson a month, which is we take the various points of the green print, which I feel are the fundamentals, the framework of discipline, if you like it, and we enact those with guinea pigs. Sometimes it's Lottie, sometimes it's even Rachael herself climbed on one of Lottie's horses and did a guinea pig, and sometimes we have other people coming through, and so we make up a lesson on video explaining what we want, and I'll do a bit of talking in away from the lesson just to sort of round it up. And in that way we hope within that lesson we've given them homework, and then in 2 weeks' time they've had a bit of a go at it, we hope, and then in 2 weeks' time we have a Facebook Live or a Zoom or whatever, and they discuss what they're finding difficult or what they haven't understood. And that's the way we're progressing it at the moment, but there's not to say that it won't develop in all sorts of different directions. One of the things that people are asking for is, and I'm sure you know this one, is a video of my cross-country round. They say, please, can you critique it for us? Because Lisa and I have been doing a bit of that for, I think it's eventing, God, I can't remember who it is now, but anyhow.
For real.
Well, it isn't actually.
Oh, sorry.
Nation or whatever, but anyhow, I get so confused with what they're all called, and we've had a lot of fun during the first lockdown doing that. So I'm sure that it will develop into different people will send their videos along and we'll critique it. But what I'm after is getting over to people the green print, which is our name for the blueprint of what I feel you need to have in your toolbox if you want to be safe for cross country. And the most important element of that is the paradox along which I think I set all that I do, which is the horse must think for himself at the same time as listening to you. And that is a paradox being a complete double opposite. Right. And it's along that I want to help everybody train their horses.
So before we go on with that, and I want to keep talking about this in the next segment, we do need to take a quick little break.
And before we go, I know we need to go. Thank you for this segment, and thank you to Stress Less, which is a great calming supplement that we give. John and I both use for our horses. It's legal for FEI and USEF.
It's even very legal. We discovered
it's very legal, but it's a casein. It's a mare's milk product that horses use. I have found extreme success with it. Along with another little secret that I got from Lucinda, and that's Succeed. So with that being said, we will go to the break and come back for our next segment.
Yeah, so thank you again to Stress Less, and we will be right back with Lucinda and Rachael.
Hey, Rick here. Do you have a horse suffering from poor performance, anxiety and fear, low appetite, agitation, or nervousness? Stress Less can help. Stress Less, the hot horse remedy, is veterinarian-developed, show-safe, all-natural formula that promotes calmness, focus, and mood balance in horses experiencing stress related to training, showing, racing, stall rest, and travel. This equine supplement encourages calmness, focus, and mood balance without affecting the motor skills or energy levels of your horse. It promotes a more willing and balanced temperament with no drowsiness or impaired function, resulting in increased focus, a calm mind, and a happier horse and rider. Try Stress Less today and see for yourself why we think Stress Less is the best hot horse remedy you will find. Check us out at centerlinedistribution.net and on Facebook and Instagram as Stress Less Horse Supplement.
Jump for Joy USA has what you need for your private farm or recognized competition. Our jumps are no maintenance, easy to move, and affordable. No scraping or painting necessary. We offer jump stands, wings, fillers, water trays, and more. Poles are wood-filled and available in 4 weights and lengths. And we now offer octagonal poles. Our cross-country portables and brush jumps are extremely useful and have been used for training by the British eventing team since 1990. Easy to move from the arena to the field and no tractor required, so you can change your setup often. We ship coast to coast in the USA and Canada. Visit our website, jumpforjoyusa.com. Summit Joint Performance, the injectable joint supplement used by numerous international and Olympic riders, invites you to experience the winning Summit difference. Made of all natural ingredients, Summit increases mobility and comfort. Win your class with Summit Joint Performance. Grant Showalter has over 15 years of equine bodywork and saddle fitting experience. His technique uses manual pressure and stretching to release points of restriction, leading to freer movement, reduced soreness, and restored range of motion. He has a thorough understanding of the importance of a properly fitted saddle. You can quickly identify and correct any balance issues and can adjust your saddle on site. I personally have Grant work on all of my event horses to keep them feeling their best before, during, and after their competitions. Grant is based in Florida year-round, but regularly travels to Georgia, Tennessee, and the surrounding areas. For more information or to schedule an appointment, call 484-639-4454.
Welcome back to the Jon and Rick Show. We are continuing on with the great Lucinda Green and Rachael Faulkner, and we're excited to hear more about the Academy, what's going on in their lives, and how this Academy is really going to be expanding and helping a lot of people. I'm a member, and we want everybody else out there to be a member so that we can go on there and just get the best of Lucinda's green print and help us all with our horses thinking and how we should think at the same time. So, Lucinda, tell us a little bit more about your idea of your green print. And I know I've been in two or three clinics with you. And it's really my biggest thing that I love about what you do with all of us. It doesn't matter if you're a 5-star rider or a beginner novice rider. You say, see that log? Walk over it. So tell us your concept of how walking over a jump, and let me tell you, it's brilliant because it helps me every time. I'm like, wait, go back to the walk, just walk it. Tell us your mindset on that.
It's lovely that you picked that up, because I think that's just the lesson we had last month was walk jumping, trot jumping, and straight line halt, which you may remember too.
Oh yeah.
We love to put across to the horse that there is no hurry. I love to put across to the rider that he's got to feel how to deal with a situation. So if you just walk up to a log, one of 3 things is going to happen. He's either going to stop, or he's going to trot. And I say any idiot can jump 1'9" out of, or 60, 30, 40 centimeters out of trot. You must be walking. Or he's going to jump it out of walk. Now, to be able to create the sort of walk you need to get a walk jump, you've got to do something about the walk. You can't just slop in and hope for the best, because your horse will either stop or put one leg over and then heave himself over. Whatever. I want you to create rocket boost, but I don't want you to create rocket boost by having a stride of trot before. So you develop amazing feel for what's happening under you and how you can create the power that you need to have a walk jump over 30 centimeters. I'm not sure about my centimeters, but really just big enough for them to jump and not step over. And the other lovely thing that I really enjoy, and I warn people before we do it, I say you will be thrown out of balance. You'll be thrown to hell like you are when you jump a ditch. It's very, very hard to sit in a perfect position. Doesn't matter. Your job is to make sure that horse rocket boosts off the ground, and that when he lands, he doesn't get you hanging onto his teeth. So you've somehow got to contain that power, release that power, and then allow that power to finish by allowing your fingers to release the reins. So in one tiny exercise with a 30 centimeter fence, you're not going to jar your horse up, you're not going to hurt him or you. You can create almost the whole of the basis of what I call coffin canter, which is a pace in cross-country riding that if you've got and you've really nailed how to do a coffin canter, there really is no jump that will defeat you. And it's a pretty big statement, but it's
that is a big statement. John, you better make note of that.
Yeah, I'm making note of it right now. I'm going to go practice.
I'm going to tell you, Lucinda, again, it made a big impression on me. And it's not only a 30 centimeter jump or log or whatever it is. You also do that with a up bank and a down bank, not big ones, but walk up the bank, walk down the bank. And once people hear this out there and have never, walked a jump, try walking a jump, a small one, and just see, like Cavaletti, whatever. It's not easy to do. And so I think it's brilliant that you've come into the site and understanding that that's really what creates a horse thinking for itself and a rider thinking for itself.
And I think, as you very rightly remind us about banks again, 30 centimeters up, and you walk in, and this time you don't need the power walk.
Right.
A reminder, they step up like a person. You can be totally relaxed. And when you turn around, you come down, always go up first. I think it usually works better. You turn around and come down. You don't need power. You just need them to walk to the edge and pop down. And then you start to get a feeling for how much a horse uses his head and neck in order to see what he's got to do and to look at that drop and to work it out. And so you start to get a feeling of how you can't come into your intermediate drop on the bit on a tight contact, because the horse has got to stretch his head down to be able to use the top half of his eye, which is his close vision. So then you do that in walk, and this is a very relaxed walk. The walk jumping is the one where you need to have that proper walk. And then you build a little fence, maybe a skinny, a few strides where I never bother to count the strides, just maybe, I don't know how many meters, 12, 15 meters away. And you say, right, you've got to have that softness in your hand to let him look at what he's doing as he comes to the edge. And then you've got to pick his eyes up and you've got to get him over that skinny that's a few strides away. Don't worry about the distance. Don't worry about the stride. Just get his eye on it and make sure he's taking you to it. So in, again, a tiny, few centimeters high bank and fence, you can create the whole of the beginnings of what you will have to do in the bigger time when you're riding cross country.
And the thing I love about that, Lucinda, is anytime that I've been around incredibly intelligent people in their field, the thing that they can do and that you do so well when I've ridden in clinics with you and when I hear you explaining this is it's simple, it's understandable. It's not rocket science that you have to use big words or big explanations. It's something that someone like Rachael can come along and say, look, this is good stuff. Let's package this.
Let's bottle it.
And let's put this forward. So Rachael, that's what you did with this whole program. So you were telling us a little bit in between the break there, a little bit about what your goals were for this whole program.
Well, so I'm really pleased you brought up the walking up and down the bank. And she doesn't just do it on banks, she does it on ditches as well. Great big ditches.
We've done the ditches too.
And I mean, it makes me wonder how, because I rode to a fairly high level, and all of this bypassed me. And I remember Lottie had a 3-year-old. She had a couple of 3-year-olds, and Lucinda, she always taught her on her higher level horses. And I said, please, can you help her on these babies? And she sort of reluctantly said yes, because she was so busy. And it was the best lesson that I ever watched, because that's what she had them doing, walking, slow trotting, just doing these basics. And I was like, how on earth could I have been this stupid all these years not to have done this? And I just thought, oh my God. And it just took all the pressure off. And these two horses, one of them was a scaredy cat and she was sold as a show jumper. She was gorgeous, but she didn't like water. But the other one is now competing, hopefully about to go up to 3-star. He's gorgeous and he's been brilliant. And
Great.
Honestly, down to what Lucinda taught Lottie, 100%. And it was these basics. So I said to Lucinda, look, tell me what your sort of trainings are like. What are your fundamental trainings? I don't have fundamental trainings. She was literally like that. I don't know. I just tell them what, I just do these things. But so over this summer, we started doing all these things and talking and chatting. And it became very clear that she does have some fundamental training, but she never realized it. And I'm like, oh my God, everybody needs to know about these. So that's what we've done. And it has been like pulling teeth, believe me, because trying to get her to like actually admit that we can just say what it is. Anyway, it's been so much fun. So now we have created, and it was Lucinda, she came up with it. I said, well, I just want a blueprint. I want people to be able to come and go, oh, okay, I can do this and I can do this and I can do this. And anyway, one day Lucinda said, well, we're not calling it the blueprint, we're calling it the green print. And I thought that is perfect. So we've created this green print, and of these fundamental lessons that you guys have been talking about that people can do at home. And they have been like magical for our academy members, because it's taken the pressure off them. It's made them realize exactly what you said, Jon, that it's simple. It's not complicated. You don't have to study for years to get as good as Lucinda. You can take what she says and apply it. And that's the magic of the academy.
It's also really helpful when you can ride like Lucinda. That does make it a little easier.
Well, yes.
We're all working towards that.
Although I have to say on that fact that there are a lot of incredible riders out there that have no idea how they do it.
Yeah.
And I think perhaps Lucinda probably was like that when she was younger. But we were saying earlier, it's decades and decades of teaching that's taught her this, and watching people make mistakes and making mistakes herself. And that's another thing we like to get across to the members, that you make a mistake, good, because
I would add to that, Rachael, also Lucinda's insight into the horse. I mean, the horse itself, how, like she always says, the horse has to think for itself. I don't think we all sit back and for a moment. Now I have my daughter Elisa does a lot of stuff of horse thinking, and so you all got to think, like Lucinda pushes out there.
Yeah, they're
out there sometimes, like you did when your reins went at Barcelona. Your horse needs to think for itself.
Yeah.
So obviously you obviously knew that happened. So
let's talk a little bit about the horse and how they think and what they see right after we take this quick break. And we'll be back with Lucinda and Rachael.
Great. I can't wait.
Yeah. So thanks again to Horse Trailer Pros, our title sponsor, and we will be right back.
Hey, Rick here. Do you have a horse suffering from poor performance, anxiety and fear, low appetite, agitation, or nervousness? Stress Less can help. Stress Less, the hot horse remedy, is veterinarian-developed, show-safe, all-natural formula that promotes calmness, focus, and mood balance in horses experiencing stress related to training, showing, racing, stall rest, and travel. This equine supplement encourages calmness, focus, and mood balance without affecting the motor skills or energy levels of your horse. It promotes a more willing and balanced temperament with no drowsiness or impaired function, resulting in increased focus, a calm mind, and a happier horse and rider. Try Stress Less today and see for yourself why we think Stress Less is the best hot horse remedy you will find. Check us out at centerlinedistribution.net and on Facebook and Instagram as Stress Less Horse Supplement.
For a horse owner on the road, your trailer is essential. No one enjoys being stuck on the road. At Horse Trailer Pros, we repair, renovate, and maintain all makes and models of horse trailers. We work directly with your insurance company or manufacturer for warranty repairs and insurance claims. Our state-of-the-art facility provides quick turnaround and friendly customer service. Considering a living quarter conversion? We do those too. Find comfort on the road with Horse Trailer Pros. Call or text 352-804-2131. HorseTrailerPros.com.
Summit Joint Performance, the injectable joint supplement used by numerous international and Olympic riders, invites you to experience the winning Summit difference. Made of all natural ingredients, Summit increases mobility and comfort. Win your class with Summit Joint Performance.
Well, welcome back to the Jon and Rick Show, brought to you by Horse Trailer Pros. We are still with Lucinda and Rachael, and happy to have them be willing to stick with us. So as we finished our last segment, ladies, we were just getting into horses and what they see and how they think. And so, Lucinda, as you have this program, this training that you've done for years that now Rachael has sort of helped you package into this system that we can all learn from online with the green print. I'm assuming a huge part of this is actually how to think like a horse would think and know what they would see. So how does that factor into all of this?
Yeah. Yes, well, I'm sort of chastened whenever I say how I feel a horse is thinking, because I go back to a Badminton when Hugh Thomas was in the middle of his life designing Badminton. And we had a fence very early on called the Quarry. I mean, fence 4 or something like that. And when Badminton was over, I remember talking to Hugh and saying, you know, Hugh, that is too early in the course. The horse isn't thinking. He's still looking at the people. He's never been in this situation of massive crowds, probably ever in his life before. And it's really hard for him to get his concentration and zoom into the fence. And the Quarry is a very, very difficult fence. It's very early on. And he just looked at me, shook his head, and he said, well, how do you know what a horse is thinking? Absolutely sheet white, because absolutely, how did I know? I don't know. But you have and I didn't say anything. I just said, but you, don't you? And I have, every time you ask that question or somebody's talking about horses thinking, I think, well, actually, how do I know? But I guess you build up, and they don't think unlike us. What they cannot do, and this is, I think, probably a really important thing to understand, is they cannot reason. They can only associate ideas, and the two things are very, very close. And apparently there's only 2 or 3 mammals that can reason. And I can remember a dolphin is one, a chimpanzee is another, and I can't.
And to be fair, Lucinda, I've met a lot of people who are not able to reason. So, and most of them are politicians.
We're not going political here.
Okay. Anyway, go ahead.
But yes, that is so true. I quite agree. And I often make that quip in my clinics, you know, where human beings are meant to reason, however. But anyhow, horses can't reason. So we have to understand, and apparently our dogs can't either, that you start from that concept. So you must always be incredibly fair and incredibly clear and incredibly consistent. And they learn by pressure and release. So if they try to run out, it's all systems on. You don't let them run out. They stay straight. They have a lovely feeling, and they can continue on over the fence. So it's how they actually think is a little bit more connected to how they see, and that I have only learned, and from your country have I learned it. And I learned it from a wonderful woman who gave me an article to read when I was teaching at Fair Hill in Maryland about 10 years ago, which was all about how horses saw that the Red Indians had worked out. And I don't know about you, but I am a huge believer that the Red Indian was one of the world's great natural horsemen. And what he could do with his horses, he could make them all lie down when the cowboys were chasing them, cover them with sand, hide themselves, and the cowboys would go on by, and the horses would be absolutely still under the sand, and then the Indians would get them up, and they get up. So they understood horses well enough. And their idea about how a horse saw is how I base my teaching, even though I don't believe it's necessarily totally scientifically accurate, because I tried it on an equinoculus once and I didn't get a good response. Basically, they see from the bottom half of their eye the distance. So they're galloping along with their head up. They're on I got
a question.
Yes, Rick.
Yeah.
Hey, Lucinda. So to your point, right?
Yeah.
The eye. I think I've talked to you about this. I think you're onto something, because I have my 4-star horse, who now is riding with Briggs, is a 3-star horse that lost his eye last April. His left eye was in an accident. And I talked to you a little bit. You might have forgotten.
No, I have never.
He was very, very ditchy.
Yeah.
Like he would really back off at ditching walls or coffins or anything like that. And I think Jon can attest to it, because he's ridden this horse with 2 eyes. And he lost the eye, and Briggs got the ride, and they went and did this 3-star at Chat, and the horse didn't miss a beat. never looked at the ditches, jumped everything. I was like, it's the least spooky he's ever been in his life. That's how he goes now. He doesn't have the same visual context with one eye that he did with two. And he's a better horse. Unfortunately, he lost his eye, but he's a better horse for it.
Did he lose the right eye?
The left.
He lost the left eye. Very interesting, because I was with a human neural pathway person the other day who said that horses saw differently out of different eyes. One eye saw what you and I saw. The other eye saw the lion jumping out the tree. The other eye was the danger eye. So whether he's lost the danger eye, she didn't remember which eye was which, but I wonder. That's so interesting. I've never heard that, Rick.
Yeah, I was shocked. John John even said to me when he saw Briggs galloping around, he was like, that horse looks the best.
Yeah, we hadn't even spoken about it. And I remember watching Briggs gallop across the field, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I've got a horse at home that's really ditchy. I might go put like a race
patch on the
blinder on that one eye and see if it's better.
I was thinking that we must be careful.
Is at home is to try one eye and try the other eye and see if there's any difference, because a wonderful man in Australia, a really brilliant natural horseman and a scientist called Andrew McLean, whom if you look McLean like the toothpaste, if you look him up on the internet, you'll see a huge amount about him, but he's the one that has always said to me horses see differently out of each eye, and if you can get round a dressage arena without spooking on one rein, make sure you can get round it without spooking on the other. And he also told me another thing which I've had huge help from in my understanding of horses. He said horses see in shapes, and that is fascinating. You just change the block, those white blocks or whatever color they are, and put it on its side, and there's a totally different thing to the horse. And I just wanted to continue about the Red Indians, because I'd only got halfway through, but I promise I won't take too long. But
sorry, I interrupted you.
No, it's such an interesting thing what you brought up about your one-eyed fellow. But they taught me, the Red Indians taught the world, that the horse's distance vision is the bottom half of his eye. Therefore, if he's on the bit coming into a fence, he's basically blinded. And if you watch any horse jumping, you'll see them start to bring their head up before. Some of them are naturally on the bit, some of them are pulled onto the bit by a bit, and sometimes they don't have enough time to read the fence. So you have to, as a rider, be careful to allow them to come off the bit in time. But conversely, their close vision, if the distance vision is the bottom half of their eye and their head has to come up, their close vision is the top half of their eye, which is why when you get to your wretched ditch and rail, a horse will shoo, quite often, if he's not quite sure, throw his head down, because he has to investigate what this is that he can't quite see. And it was from your country, probably 10-15 years ago now, that I learned probably one of the most invaluable lessons I've ever learned about how horses see. And like Rachael, I thought, how did I get through all my life and be so lucky and win what I did when I had no idea how a horse saw?
So what book was that? Because I want to go get it. Do you remember the book that you read?
It wasn't a book, it was an article.
But it was an article. Okay, I'll Google it.
Red Indians, horses' eyesight.
So Lucinda, when you used to do clinics, when we were all allowed to travel, you would travel around, if I recall, with a bag of bits and spurs that were about 6 inches long, right? Legal. Yes, they were the maximum legal length. I remember because
very, very legal.
Because they were very, very legal, because you actually mailed me a pair, which I think you did for some people that you liked a lot, like me. And now you're going to have to carry around this article when we get to start traveling again.
I know. And I can attest. Let me see if I can guess what Lucinda's favorite bit is. A leather bit.
For the very sensitive horses, a leather bit. For the less sensitive horses, I'd start with a Waterford, the bobbly bit.
Yep. The bobbly, yep. Those two bits that we have in our
if I had box. Take 2 bits, which would be a great deal easier at every airport X-ray machine, just to have 2 bits. It would be a leather bit, straight bar leather, bendy leather, which I found, I used to be a Nath, but I found Nath has burnt some horses.
Yes.
So the leather never has yet. Leather bit and a Waterford.
So do you ever wonder when you travel around, not to let this get too X-rated, but when you traveled around the world with a bag of bits, spurs and leather boots?
So much fun, because I have these spurs, as you know, and I had them pull them out and they say, what are these? I've now started to say they're stirrups, Because if I say their stirrups, they put them away and they're quite happy. But if I say spurs, they raise an eyebrow. And look at
Right. They go, where are the whips, lady?
Oh.
Hey, go ahead, Rachel, but I want to say this before you go. I think you need to put travel tips for carrying bits and spurs. Go ahead, Rachel.
I was only going to say, not long ago, Lucinda lost her bit bag and was hunting everywhere for it. Where did you find it, Lucinda?
in my house.
In your house. Awesome.
Honestly.
That's great. Listen, we've got to take another break, and then we're going to be back one more time with you guys if you'll stick with us. But first, we just got to check in with our sponsors, and we'll be right back.
Grant Showalter has over 15 years of equine bodywork and saddle fitting experience. His technique uses manual pressure and stretching to release points of restriction, leading to freer movement, reduced soreness, and restored range of motion. He has a thorough understanding of the importance of a properly fitted saddle. You can quickly identify and correct any balance issues and can adjust your saddle on site. I personally have Grant work on all of my event horses to keep them feeling their best before, during, and after their competitions. Grant is based in Florida year-round, but regularly travels to Georgia, Tennessee, and the surrounding areas. For more information or to schedule an appointment, call 484-639-4454. Jump for Joy USA has what you need for your private farm or recognized competition. Our jumps are no maintenance, easy to move, and affordable. No scraping or painting necessary. We offer jump stands, wings, fillers, water trays, and more. Poles are wood-filled and available in 4 weights and lengths. And we now offer octagonal poles. Our cross-country portables and brush jumps are extremely useful and have been used for training by the British eventing team since 1990. Easy to move from the arena to the field and no tractor required, so you can change your setup often. We ship coast to coast in the USA and Canada. Visit our website, jumpforjoyusa.com. When it comes time to compete, I demand the best out of my horses and myself. That's why Elemental Fit Lab, the home of CrossFit antics, is my home gym. Coach Vilma and her team create a fun, welcoming environment for athletes of all levels. Whether you're a beginner or a seasoned athlete, Elemental Fit Lab will guide you towards a stronger, healthier version of you. Mention the Jon and Rick Show to get 3 free personal training sessions with enrollment.
Sweet Dixie South is an equestrian facility built for the lifestyle of eventers of all levels. Whether you are coming to Ocala for the entire season, a week, a month, or a year, this beautiful 160-acre farm is the place to settle in and enjoy your time with horses. They offer a full cross-country course with 2 water features, banks, ditches, and amazing footing to gallop, a spectacular all-weather footing ring, large grass jumping fields, and dressage rings. Located in the rolling hills of North Marion County in Reddick, Florida, Sweet Dixie South has 100 stalls and numerous paddocks, apartments, a line of camper hookups, washer and dryer amenities, as well as common areas to complete your experience during your stay. Under the ownership of Mike Campbell and the management of Can-Do Joe Adams of Top Rail Tack, Sweet Dixie South has transformed into a premier eventing training facility in Florida. Go to www.sweetdixiesouth.com for more information.
Welcome back to the Jon and Rick Show, brought to you by Horse Trailer Pros, and we have our 4th segment with Lucinda Green and Racheal Faulkner. We're here to talk about this segment, really dive into the academy that y'all have launched, how we can get people out there a part of it and join and listen to the great things that y'all have bottled, that you're not throwing into a bottle and throwing into the ocean, but you can actually go on the waves lines of the internet and see Miss Lucinda and get all the great things. So what I know at the bottom of your screen is a link of how you can get to where you need to go, but we're going to talk more about the launch and what's happening and how the academy is really going to help everybody. But we got to get them in. So how do we get them in? That's going to be
a link at the bottom of the screen for those watching on the television or on their computers. And then for those who are listening to us on the podcast, if you just click over to the show notes, that information will be there
as well.
All right. So.
Oh, well, thank you guys for letting us let us tell all your followers about this academy. I have to say that the reason why I'm here And it's a jolly good thing, because if I wasn't, we wouldn't sell a thing, because Lucinda is hopeless at singing her own praises. So that's my job, and that's an easy job, because the woman is an absolute icon, and what she doesn't know about horses is definitely not worth knowing. And one of the things that I'm actually super proud of myself for is I have actually managed to put it into a format, bottle it, as we spoke about it, and we call it the green print. So I'm desperate for as many people to have access to Lucinda's teachings as possible, for lots of reasons. But one, I truly believe that if we can all be better cross-country riders, well, we're obviously going to be much safer, but also it's going to make a big difference in our sport. And it's really important that we promote our sport. And I think for me, I am 100% passionate, as is Lucinda, about cross-country riding and eventing. And so if we can get people into our sport and supporting and succeeding in it, and so they stay, that's just going to make everything better for all of us. So the academy is exactly that. It's a community of people that want to learn from the absolute best, obviously, but also learn from one another. We have a great community. They're all around the world. Rick, you're part of it. It's been great fun. And then on top of that, obviously, each month we have a video from Lucinda that comes out, teaching you the fundamentals, as I said earlier on, and it's gold dust, absolute gold dust. So and then later on you get to interact with Lucinda, and she's also goes into the Facebook all the time, a Facebook group. She's always commenting, which is really nice. So so we really want to encourage as many Americans as possible.
So I have a question, Rachael,
yes,
which we haven't gotten into yet, and actually I'm kind of surprised we haven't. What's this cost?
Oh, well, it's very, very cheap.
Perfect. I like it.
It's £25, which
Okay.
I think works out at about $35. And that's per month.
That
So
is a deal.
yeah, it is an amazing deal. My daughter the other day was saying to me, because the whole learning online, riding horses and so on, it's like, how is that going to work? And that was something that we really needed to get our heads around. And she just off the cuff said the other day, she said, I've learned more from Lucinda through the experience in the academy than I have in all the years I've been riding. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to tell her that because she's not going to be very happy. I said, well, that's not what I mean. But she said, when I'm having a lesson, you're so focused on yourself and actually doing the thing. But when you're doing the academy, you can read it, digest it, and understand why you're doing it. And it makes it much, much more powerful. Are you all right there, Rick?
Yes, the dogs are driving me crazy.
Rick's throwing things around his house.
I threw stuff at the Jack Russells.
So I think that's actually a good point. And Lucinda, I wonder, hopefully at some point in the next year, I hope we're going to be able to start traveling around again and seeing each other and giving each other hugs and teaching in person. And so it seems to me like maybe the lesson for all of us who teach is it sounds like what Rachael was explaining about your daughter, Rachael, is the academics of it, the sitting down and studying of it, as opposed to what happens in a lot of lessons. And I'm guilty of it when I teach. I'm guilty of it when I take lessons, is we ride, we do, but we don't always understand. And so I wonder, Lucinda, is there a way going forward when you come back over here and you teach us in person, that we can take this system, this online system, and continue to use it at that point to make us actually sit down and do the academics of riding?
Good question.
Yeah.
Lucinda, go. She's
thinking.
What I'm trying to puzzle through the question.
So the question is, obviously, with this program that Rachael's put out there, what you forced us as riders to do is to sit down and watch and think about what you're saying as opposed to just reacting. And so, yes, Rick.
I'm sorry not to interrupt. I think you do that, Lucinda. And and you don't even know you're doing it. Like when you start out at a group and you sit there and you talk about your ideas and your fundamentals, you translate that. I think Jon are you talking about maybe even, I mean, Jimmy Wofford does like a classroom setting in the beginning.
I guess what I'm saying, Lucinda, is but one thing is with all this online learning that we've been doing, there's been some negatives and there's been some positives. And I think one of the positives that I see out of this is it doesn't change what you're teaching people. It changes the way the people you're teaching take in the information. And so what you've done is you've forced us, your students, to sit down and really think about how does this affect me, and then go and practice it, as opposed to in a lesson where we hear you say it and we go, yeah, okay, I got it, and then go off and do it. So I just think I'm not even sure if it's really a question. I just think it's very interesting that by making us go online and do this green print program, it really hammers in those fundamentals. And I guess what I'm saying is I think going forward, this could be a piece of what you do post-COVID as well.
Yeah, no, I hope the two things will run concurrently. I hope it might stop me having to travel quite so much, because it's the last 25
I'll be right back.
Been in an aeroplane, really. But what's worrying me hearing you talk is that I have one of the many things that I say to people is don't think, feel, because thinking cuts out feel. However, you have to juxtaposition the two things, because if you don't think, you're not even going to find your way around the course, let alone come into the fences at the speed you know you need to come into them. But thinking can be quite harmful to feel. And so what I think I feel has happened during some of the teaching is that I try and get in a great deal of information, because there's only 2 days. There's a huge amount of information I want to get over. And I think if somebody takes away one thing, that's great, but they're not going to take away 20, 30, 40 things that they need to have. So to be able to come back in and switch on to the academy and go back through, look at the titles of the different lessons and go back and I didn't quite understand what you meant about that, or let me just talk, listen to the framework of discipline or whatever. And then you start to hear things that you've probably heard in the lesson, but they didn't go in. Because I remember Yogi Breisner, a very great teacher, saying 2 things to me about teaching. He said, one thing is you have to say something 20 times before somebody will get it. That's a lot, 20 times. The other thing is only say don't twice in a lesson. So it's always put your heels down, not don't put your toes down. And it's as simple as that. So those are the 2 things. But I think you bring a very good point to the table, that I am so keen to get so much across that no normal brain can take it all in, especially when they're trying to ride their horse as well. So I think that the teaching will not change much, because all my life I've tried to teach feel. But getting those fundamentals in a little bit more order in their mind will come from watching this.
I got an idea.
Yes.
Y'all can pass it around with each other, but why not? Because we get, Lucinda, we all know, those that host your clinics and things, we get an itinerary of what happens, what you like to have, and what we need to have there as tools. And of course, one thing that you could do is say, if they're not members of the academy, here's a link free for you to go through these fundamentals to look through before you come to my clinic. And then it's a free, but after that, after the clinic, it's not free anymore. They need to join, but at least they get to look at a fundamental, one fundamental that they might need. It might be a good idea to drive membership for people that
Thank you.
that are doing your clinic.
So we're just about out of time, but the one thing I want to know that's super important to me, because I'm a selfish person, is, Lucinda, when you're ready to start traveling again, will you be coming to Ocala? Because I would really like to have you here.
That's so lovely to hear you say that. And you know, the only thing I found difficult about COVID, because I've been incredibly lucky to be living with my daughter and her fiance, so I'm not lonely. We got horses. Everything for me has been just bliss, because I haven't had to go to an airport for a whole year. But I do miss you guys, and I do miss the interaction and the fun that we have. So I would love to come to Ocala if you're game.
I'm coming.
Good. You need to come. And you know what, Jon?
Yes.
The onset of COVID, I know we're running out of time, but the onset of COVID, she was coming here.
I know.
It was March. I remember the day, March 13th. Lucinda and I were talking to each other. And she goes, I can't come. I was like, you can't come.
Are you superstitious? Friday the 13th, I was flying.
I know. And
to you. And at midnight on the 12th, 13th, having spoken to you and to Full Gallop in Aiken, and they said, you'd be crazy to come. You said much the same. And I pulled, and it cost me 750 quid. It cost you, Rick, because I still haven't paid you back.
Didn't cost me a penny. Didn't cost me a penny.
Oh.
We'll have you over. It'll be fine.
Yeah,
so thanks so much for being on the show. Sorry, COVID's locked you down, but it looks like you got a great thing going. And Jon, this has been super having them on. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for having us.
Thank you both for coming. Thank you to Horse Trailer Pros. And Rick, we will be back in 2 weeks' time with our next show, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Great.
All right.
I'll be there.
You'll be there. I'll be there too. Till next time.
Rick Wallace.
And I have Jon Holly here with me.
3 phases, dressage, cross-country, show jump. And you're out on course and something's going wrong or going right. You know how to react to what they're doing.
It was built originally to be a schooling facility, and so everything's set up very conveniently.